I have a term for you today that might make you think, what the? I know it sure didn't make me think that. And the term is the Pygmalion Effect. And you might be thinking, oh, that sounds like Greek mythology or something. And you're right, it is. So let's talk about where it came from, what it means, and how it applies to UX. Let's go. Now, the Pygmalion effect might be kind of an old school term or phenomenon, and it has a huge impact on how users actually use your products or services. It's all about expectations and making sure that what we build is meeting users' expectations. It's actually a psychological phenomenon. Ooh, we are getting fancy today. And this is where higher expectations improve performance. In other words, if someone believes in you or your product, that is going to improve their devotion and their performance when it comes to you. So, like I said, it does come from Greek mythology. So let's talk about this story because it's kind of funny. So Pygmalion was a sculptor and he built this sculpture and he fell in love with it. And so much so that it came to life. I mean, how Greek mythology does that sound? But in 1968, we're coming up in time a little bit, it really took off in psychology based on this one study. So the study was that teachers were told that certain students were late bloomers. And the truth is, those students were randomly chosen. But the students that were labeled as late bloomers kind of stepped up to the plate more and improved their performance in the classroom. All right, so this is kind of cool. Got some background here, but you might be thinking, what does this have to do with UX? Well, let's talk about that. If your design tells users what to expect, then their behavior will adapt to that expectation. So let me give you a few examples. If your site has a clean and orderly design, then users will find your site more trustworthy. If it looks polished and professional, then they will trust it more and they will interact with your site a bit more, perhaps. If your site has a confusing UI or weird buttons that are not used, then they'll feel like it's not up to date and it's not trustworthy. And they might not interact with your product. In fact, they might just bounce. If there are actually empty states, let's say that you have a dashboard and there's nothing there, users might think they are doing something wrong, like it's broken. So what you can do when you're designing an experience like that is you can guide them to start contributing to building out that dashboard. You can say things like, nothing here yet, so they understand it's not their fault. Or you can encourage them, like I said, to start adding to the dashboard or start building out the experience for them. What you're doing is you are influencing your user's experience through design, kind of like how in that study, I may not have mentioned it, but in that study, because these late bloomers were given that label, the teachers actually encouraged their behavior a bit more. And because the teachers gave those late bloomers that encouragement, they did better. This is how you can do that in UX design as well. Let's talk a little bit more about how you can use the Pygmalion effect in the things that you and your team are building. First, you want to set positive expectations. You can do this through strong visual design, tone, and overall structure of the page. You can give clear pathways to success, help a user along in this experience, especially in onboarding. You can be positive in microcopy, saying good job and keep going, encouraging that behavior. You can reflect progress. People love progress bars to show that they're getting work done or checklists that they can check off. These are ways to encourage behavior through your experiences. And something very basic, you can avoid friction, which could cause a person to feel like they're failing. We just don't want to do that. The bottom line is your users are human. If you show confidence in them through their designs, they will reciprocate that feeling of confidence and be more engaged in your product. So remember, the Pygmalion Effect is about creating expectations through setting good expectations. In UX, this means you are designing things that say, you can do this, you've got this, you belong here, this is a quality experience. And it may not be directly through messaging, but this communication of expectations can also be done through words, design, tone, those sort of things. So what do you think? Do you feel a little bit more confident about understanding what the Pygmalion Effect is and how that can be applied to user experience, design, and features? That's my whole point here. Can you think of some experience or product that you've used that gave you encouragement, set good expectations for you, and therefore you had a better relationship with that product? If you can, leave me a comment below and tell me about it. Let's check out my next what the video, which might go to your head a little bit. Cognitive load. See what I did there? Did you like my bad joke? Okay, fine. Don't like my bad joke. I'll get over it. Let's hop over to the next video about cognitive load. See you over there. Bye.